What's going on, everybody? I want to welcome you all to another episode of the Kind of Boys podcast. I am one of your hosts, Everett Stevenson, joined here with some of my co-hosts.
Hi, everybody. I am one of your other co-hosts. My name is Samantha Adams.
Hey, everybody. I'm your last and final co-host, Malik Foster, and we have a very good topic for you guys today. We're going to talk about men's standards in dating, right? Because, we always harp on women's standards in dating, whether, hey, lady, women, you need to up your standards. Hey, women like this type of man, and women want this, women want that. But we rarely focus on men's standards and, what they want, and do they have a set standard or do they not? What do they like? What do they dislike? Because, when it comes to, the men wanting women, it's like, it's more of a accept me as I am type of thing. A good woman who just works or cooks, or some basic necessities, survival things that we all need. Like, oh yeah, does she cook? Does she clean or whatever? We all need to do those things or have those things done. So it's pretty interesting to see what kind of standards that men have. And that's what we want to talk about today. Some of the societies, what the society think about men's choices in dating, some entitlement of women when it comes to dating and men, which men may or may not like. We're going to get into that and a little bit of the numbers games, and we're going to conclude out. So, do you guys want to jump in, or you want me to go into the first subtopic of men, society's views? Let's talk about that. Some of society's views.
I know a lot of women might be upset with me because I did not subscribe to some of the same standards as women when it comes to this. It's just something that I know, right? A lot of times women have standards, right? We know our worth, whatever, which is great. You should know your worth. You don't want nobody treating you in any kind of way, right? But it's okay for a man to know his worth too, right? It's okay for a man to say, I don't like you. I'm not attracted to you, right? We as women, we do that every single solitary day. Like, I don't like him. Go ahead. But why is it that women always expect men to be like, oh, just because she's a woman and I think I'm the prize that he has to want me. A man does not have to desire a specific woman. He can want who he wants. She can have whatever characteristics, accolades, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that's with her, he can want that, or he doesn't have to. And I think a lot of times we as women look at men funny when they have a standard. Like, sweetheart, he might not necessarily be gay just because he don't like you, right? He might be gay, but that don't have nothing to do with you. And it's fine either way. People have to be okay with understanding that everybody doesn't want you, or everybody doesn't want what you think that they should want because you think they should want it. And I tie that into society because I think that it's something that's ingrained in a lot of people, right? Like, even when, like, men can be like, I don't like her because of this. I don't like her. And other men may understand it, but in a general sense, like at a real high level, it's like whenever we have this conversation, a majority of women are often like, nah, like, why not? You gotta like me. Or they just assume because a man is nice to you or they talk to you or whatever, that he like you. Why he can't just be polite? Why he can't just be friendly? That don't mean he like you. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of that has to be changed, like, because it's okay for men to have standards, for them to say that they don't like something or don't want something. I think that we have to really look at that.
To your point, I think you raised some good points because I definitely can see it a lot of times when we look at like dating in society, just how like women can kind of be appalled at guys for like having certain standards. And one of the biggest ones that you see people have is, and this recently kind of went viral too, was a guy being like, "Oh, I don't want to date someone with kids." That one went like super viral because the girl was like, really offended because she felt as though, again, just because she had a child and she's doing good in her career didn't make her not, worthy of being dated by that man. But he had the preference of choosing however he wanted to choose, and that was one of the things that he said that he kind of wanted to focus on. And I think that kind of like caught a lot of people by surprise because again, it's just like to the point that Sam was making. It's like, how dare you have this choice? How dare you have this viewpoint that, you know what I'm saying, that doesn't see me for me and all of me, but you see me as because of one aspect of me and one whole. But I think that that's something that we also see across the board when it comes to dating. So I just find it to be shocking sometimes when women see that it is done to them as well. Um, but I also wanted to talk on like I think the level of attractiveness, right? Because that to me was something that I thought was important to discuss in this conversation because I think sometimes people will feel like, well, why is it that you guys only go for these type of women, right? Or this type of what you call it. Right? You'll hear a lot of girls, sometimes women, well, excuse me, say like, oh, all guys kind of just most guys like this type of woman, right? With, the BBL culture that's been out recently, people kind of some would think that that's the more important type of trend that's going on, the more desirable trend, if you will. So like a lot of people kind of feel a lot of people feel like that's the desired shape and size of women in today's modern, world. And and for a guy, if they do happen to like that, it's almost like a okay, well, you need to accept, you know what I'm saying, every woman for who she is, and she coming at you and she like you, evidently. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like she should be able to be her versus, you having your preference as to what you like. And it's like if you don't like her, or if you don't like a woman who doesn't have that type of preference, sometimes that can kind of get viewed as, body shaming or some other type of title or some type of characteristic when in all it just might be you like women that might be more curvy. Shout out to our Black Business of the Month, Big Fine Lingerie, for some of those more curvy ladies. But again, you got guys who have preferences of women who may be slim with a little thickness in the right areas, a little nice little curve to the hips, little curve to other sides of her as well. That is what they like. You know what I'm saying? So she can be on the slender side, but have the curves in just the right places. So, every guy has different preferences. And I think that, when it comes to dating, that, just like women have preferences, it's okay for guys to prefer how they want their guys to look like, or excuse me, how they want their spouse to look like.
Yeah, I wanted to mention on the level of attractiveness. I guess it's kind of a bit of attractiveness and a little bit of societal views. Sam had mentioned the prize, right? I'm wondering why can't men be the prize, right? Everybody's trying to tell that women are the prize. But what's wrong with a man being a prize, right? Because like when a lot of women generally want, not generally, but a lot of women say they want certain things, right? Like, a well-off man, a certain physique, a certain type of personality trait, and all of that. And that's a small group of men that have those traits. So why can't those men that they want be the prize? And if like 80% of women are chasing that small 1 to 10%, then those men are the prize. And so why can't men be the prize, So I look at it like this. Oh, go ahead, Sam. Yeah, you can interrupt me. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't think that there's anything wrong with men being the prize. I think that's part of the societal issue that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Individually, we all have something with us, right? We're all fearfully and wonderfully made. God created us all. We're all individuals. We're beautiful in our own unique way, right? And that's what makes us individually the prize.
Mhm.
Generally speaking, like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a man being the prize. It's just that I think that traditionally, right, women are supposed to be chaste. They're supposed to be courted. They're supposed to be, because remember, at one point, women were possessions, right? So I think that's where part of that ideology comes from. I have absolutely no backing to that. This is just my opinion, right? And I think
I agree with that.
Right. So I think that frame of thought comes from that, but it's wrong thinking. And the reason why I say it's wrong thinking is because why is it not okay for a man to be a prize? Why is it not okay for a man to have standards? And one thing that I had meant to mention a few minutes ago that I think is important is the hypocrisy in it, right? The hypocrisy in men having standards, because a woman, if you have a heavier woman, right? And a man says, I don't like big girls. Or you have a girl that's real skinny and a man says, I don't like skinny girls. Him saying, I don't like big girls turns into a whole thing about body shaming. It's like, that doesn't mean he thinks you're a horrible person or that you're disgusting or whatever. That's just not his preference. Same thing if it's a skinny girl. That doesn't mean he thinks you're a horrible person and you look terrible. You're just not what he prefers. I think that there's a fine line between, preference and literally just belittling somebody because you have issues within yourself, right? Like the interracial dating situation, right? If a man prefers a woman, if he's dating a woman that's white, that might be what he likes, right? But that, as long as it's not at the expense of Black women, then who cares? That's his preference. But if it's like, oh yeah, I'm raising her up and I'm putting you down, then there's a problem, right? And I think the reason why I bring up that hypocrisy is because when a man does that, it's an issue. But if a woman does it, nobody ever talks about it. It's never an issue. It's never a problem when a woman, ridicules a man for his size and his weight. If he's overweight, right? He's got to have a six pack. He's got to look like this. He's got to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody ever says anything when women do that. But when a man does it, it's an issue. And it might be based on your preference.
Because, Sam, it's a taboo. It seems to even give constructive criticism that would even possibly help women in the Western society, and specifically Black women. If you even try to criticism, it's like you're being sexist, you're a hater, you're jealous, and then all the ad hominem attacks that start happening. Oh, you're gay, all this other stuff. They start personally attacking you because they're upset about something in their own personal life. Instead of trying to work and fix the issues to get better so they can be a happier person, they just project that anger towards you instead of trying to project the energy towards fixing the problem. And a lot of people do this, but we're just pointing it out in terms of, the level of attractiveness and the relationships. But that's what I think. And as far as another thing that we wanted to talk about is dating, or what dating is. My presence is a presence, which kind of goes on to this men being a prize. Women just think they're just a prize all alone just because they exist. They don't have to do any work for a man or anything. It's like, hey, I'm naturally a woman, so that's enough. Even though there might be some other women that are actually trying to fix themselves, like work out good, learn how to cook better, learn how to do things. It's like women still have to compete for a man, but just in a different way. Like, you may not have to chase them, but you have to put yourself in their presence to be chased, right? You have to be ready to do the things that they like, or to help them be happy, men be happy, or just vice versa. Just like men have to do some things to make women happy. It's like, hey, women, you still have to do your job. So your presence is not a present alone. Like, you have to be able to give and provide something besides your existence. Like, yeah, I can eat, sleep, and just do bodily functions like another human. It's like, okay, there's billions of other humans that can do that. You have to separate yourself when you want to get what you want to get. So I just wanted to say that with that part.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying, and it kind of reminds me of something that I was thinking of too when we discussed this topic, which was kind of like looking at how it is in society. Like we know that there's generally more women on this earth than there are men, right? And we always talk about how every woman feels like they should have a man, and a man to themselves, especially in the Western kind of philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Everyone feels like they should have their own man, and not share and this, that, and the third. And I think that kind of goes to that whole element of just plain, if you say like a level of entitlement that kind of like that's shocked by men having standards, that's shocked by men having preferences, that's shocked by, what I'm saying, men not just going for, any old thing. Because of the fact that there are so many different women, that there's most likely someone on here, that on this earth, that's likely willing to, not even just on this earth, within your area, that's willing to go with the type of programming that you would like to go, especially in areas where that there's overpopulation of women. So some of those being in like Atlanta, Texas, Houston, another one that we know of, DC, as they always call within our communities, where there's high population of pretty good women who are doing well for themselves. Which, as we've always said, once you get to a point where everyone's doing well, then that becomes the average, right? So then it's like, okay, so then what makes somebody, unique or exceptional? And then that kind of goes to the point that Malik was making, like, okay, outside of just having the credentials of, having yourself and being able to take care of yourself and things of that nature, having things for yourself, what else do you kind of bring to the table that makes a person say, this is an exceptional woman? This is someone that can maybe help, bring about making my children better, teaching them to have a heart, but also to have a mind. This is someone that's going to also, what I'm saying, have my back in society. She's not going to have people mocking me or laughing at me, you know what I'm saying, when she's on a TV show or doing an interview on a show. So those types of things.
Yeah, this is where I disagree with Steve Harvey. Remember what you're saying, bringing up, making me remember what Steve Harvey said. Like, what does a woman don't have to bring anything to the table? I humbly disagree with Steve Harvey with that. It's like, okay, her just existing isn't enough. She has to have some sort of life skills, some sort of skills that's going to help make your life easier and make you happy. Like, because what's the point of being with her if you can pick another woman or be with another woman who's going to do those things? So that doesn't make any sense to me. I get where he's coming from. Like, you shouldn't demand as much of her as yourself. I get that part, but she has to bring something. Because, like, what if you get sick or you're down? Like, she has to bring something to the table. She can't just be totally lost without you. So
I got some pushback to that, because I think that when people say, what do you bring to the table? I think that means something different for different people, right? Like, in the context that you're speaking of, Malik, it's like, what do you have to offer? You see what I'm saying? Like, what you like you said, your presence can't be my present. Like, you have to have something with you, right?
Yeah, don't be lazy. Get a gift.
You see what I'm saying? But but I didn't take it that way. And the reason why I didn't take it that way is because if you as a man are choosing have figured out okay, let me take a step back. Just like women have options, men have options. And how we go for the things that we want within those options is different, right? But if a man says, okay, I like her, that's who I want, that's who I'm gonna go after, that's who I'm gonna go get, right? Here's my table. Something had to make him say, that's who I'm going to get. Not simply just because she's pretty or he finds her attractive. Like, there has to be some kind of substance within her for him to say, I'm going to go get her, right? I'm going to go get her and bring her to my table. You see what I mean?
Well, Sam, I mean, him getting her and bringing her to the table, that's just one part.
No, but the thing is, no, I just said two, because she has to have something with her for him to even want to go get her. You see what I'm saying?
Let me just jump in here real quick. I don't even want to interrupt y'all real quick because y'all doing a really good job, and I'm coming at the back end. But I think to the point that you make, I also think that it goes towards the quality of the man, right? Because like some guys will just go because she's attractive. She has something that catches their eye. That's enough. Or it's just women. There's some dudes that be like, oh, it's girls over there. I'm just going, you know what I mean? Versus a guy who may be more in tune with themselves and in tune with energy and vibrations. He might see like the way she's carrying herself, the way she conducts herself. It's something different about her. I don't know what it is that's attracting me to her, but there's something that's gravitating me to her energy. I want to go get to know her. Now, to that point, I agree with you, and I'm a back off.
Yeah, and the reason why I say that is because, like, at the end of the day, when you're talking about, so if it's a man's job to provide, it's one of his jobs, right? Is to provide, not just to provide money, right? And not just to provide, oh, let's go on vacations, and, you know, all that. It's his job to provide security in different ways, right? Not just physical security, making sure the house is safe, but to make me feel secure with you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You see what I'm saying? That is his job. It's her job to help him. So he has to be able to have the vision to see that she has the ability to be a helpmate. And if you looking at a woman and you looking like, oh, that's a nice house, but ain't nobody home, you really gotta, or it might not be pretty on the inside of that house. Like, at that point, you have to figure that out before you get to the table. You see what I'm saying? In my opinion, in my humble opinion, and when I heard him say that, what I thought, because we did a podcast on this, y'all make sure y'all go ahead and check that thing out, because we definitely talked about this and more in depth. But I definitely believe that when he said that, it's like, you know what you're going after. The people that you're talking about that are like, oh, just because she's pretty or whatever, those people are feeding into the standard that we're talking about. The ones that feed into the ideology of the man not being a prize, because then you one of them that's just going to go after any old thing. You see what I'm saying?
Because I interpreted, like he said, she doesn't have to bring anything to the table. So, I mean, that's the way I interpret it.
She has to bring herself to the table. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, she just, her existence is enough.
That doesn't mean that. Nah, what I think he meant by that, it doesn't mean that she doesn't have anything to provide. It's that you are the provider, right? It's her job to come and you got the table, you're providing the table, she's supposed to set that thing. You know, I saw another meme one time where it said that, you know, it's a man's job to set the atmosphere, it's a woman's job to set the tone. No, it's a man's job to set the tone, it's a woman's job to set the atmosphere. So he let you know, all right, boom, this is the structure, this is what we're doing, and she's the one that's gonna make that house. You see what I mean? You have to be able to see that she had the vision for her to be able to do that, because at that table, you're providing the food, you're providing, you see what I'm saying? The things that go, the plates, she's the one that has to put the stuff together. And I think that that's what he meant by, it's not what she brings to the table. She don't have to bring nothing. She's the one that has to put it together. You see what I mean? It's not a matter of, oh, I got one leg, do you got the other leg? You see what I'm saying? I got the feet, you got the flat part surface. Like, it's not about that.
But what I'm saying,
let me jump in here real quick.
But yeah, real quick, E, let me just say this, and then I'll let you go. I was gonna say, no matter what, I strongly think most people generally want their partners to bring something to the table. Even most men who are providing financially 100% something, they still want their woman to do something to alleviate some of their stress in their life or add to their happiness, whether it's monetarily, emotionally, something that she does, some type of skills that actually benefit that man in some type of way. Because what's the point of being with that person when you can be with another person who's going to offer that and more? So that's the way I kind of rationalize
you guys. Now let Father Wisdom come on in here and bring this all together. So you guys made some very good points. And I think one of the things that also you I'm going to have to lean towards Sam's going version of this because I think what Uncle Steve was trying to say in that regard, you know what I'm saying, was not so much like your presence is the presence alone. It was more so because he also went along and said she could make another you. And that's a very vital point, right? Because, like, if you guys are in tune, and so she's believing with the things that you're doing, she likes your character and who you are and all of those things. She likes the way that you lead, and she's on board with that. And when she's raising your child, she's going to be on board with teaching them the same type of things that y'all want, the same type of structures, the same type of morale. To the point that Sam made, you set the tone, right? You went up there, you know what I'm saying, inseminated, you set the tone. Now she's able to set the atmosphere. So when you're gone doing what you're doing to provide for the family, she's able to be at the household enforcing the things that you would probably want enforced from the household's viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? So now, because the flip side of it all is if you have a woman who doesn't do the things that you want, right? Who isn't on your program, right? So now you are struggling because you're fighting at the household because y'all not in sync, y'all not unison on y'all thoughts and how y'all would like to, conduct your home, let alone raise your children. So because y'all are not doing that, the child might not be getting the lessons that you would like them to learn from their mother. You know what I'm saying? And then they might not also be getting the lessons that you would like to teach them on your own because they might be learning different lessons from your parent, the other parent. So, there's conflict. That's where I think the unison of what he was trying to say in regards to her, because it's like if you're wise in the her that you pick, she's going to be able to understand that these are the ways in which I can make your life better. These are the things they're intangible, right? Like that type of stuff that I was just describing. You can't put a price on that, right? You know what I mean? Because you got to love that child, you got to love that man to want to do that work. You know what I mean? Because we see day in and day out, people check out of doing that work all the time. You know what I'm saying? All the time. Whether it's because they're not in sync with the man no more, or they're just tired of doing it that way. They want to do it and do their own thing and have their own program and not a program that's, between the two of them. So that's where I think he was kind of going with that statement. It just wasn't articulated in that fashion.
His statement kind of made me think about simping, right? Like a lot of guys will do the most for the least. Let's put it like that. And what I mean by that is like even we can take Uncle Steve, as you call him, or Steve Harvey. You could say he did a little bit of simping for this lady because he's been chasing her around for a while. She does have a interesting past. I don't want to go into that, but he's been. What did you say?
What lady? What lady?
His current wife.
Okay, so that not just simping for his wife, the woman he married.
Well, I'm talking about before that. He's been chasing her. She rejected him. He's been after her for a while. Let's put it like that. So
was after her before she married him.
Yeah, he was after her before they got married. He was after her for a while until he got her, which he has her now. And I'm saying she has like an interesting past. She's dated a lot of, let's say, convicted felons, right?
Okay.
Yeah, people who've done bad stuff. So she had a type. So anyways, it makes me think of simping, right? Because there's a lot of guys out here who, for some reason, they want to lower their standards or what they truly want just to have the company of a female. Because guys do have standards. They do have things that they do like, but they just want to have that presence of a female so much because, honestly, a lot of guys do have difficulty getting women. So they'll do anything, whether it's to try to use their money, try to use anything possible to get women, which is not wrong, but sometimes they overdo it to where they think where women may get the wrong idea and think, oh, okay, this is what men truly want, even though that's not what they want. They just want to be able to have your time, your company, your energy, whatever, a relationship with you. So I don't know what
I
y'all guys
definitely
think
want
about
to.
that simping
And
aspect. Oh, go ahead, go
I
ahead,
wanted
go
to,
ahead.
I wanted to go back off on what you were saying in regards to that because I do think that that also plays a role in like society's views in regards to how I think that does play a role in society's views in regards to how um society in particular look at how men date, right? Like because it's like if a guy maybe not willing to put out on the first night, right? Because he might not want or whatever. He might be looking to see more from you than just how your physical attraction game is, and he wants certain things. It's like, what's wrong with him? Is he scared? Da, 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 da. Is he gay? Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? But instead, he might actually be wanting to have a little something more than just, you know what I'm saying, a casual fling, or he doesn't want to get too quickly involved on the physical side. He might want to develop something else. So I think like but to the point that you were making in regards to simping, like I think, you know, that gets kind of distorted sometimes because there are guys who are always willing to do whatever, who are always willing to kind of say whatever, do whatever to make women feel validated in some regards, even though they don't necessarily believe the things that they're saying or the things that they're saying isn't true. And I think that's when it's like really simping because to me, it's like you're now displaying something that you know isn't you for real. It's not authentically you, but you're doing it for a certain reaction. And 9 times out of 10, you might not even get the reaction that you know what I'm saying, you're looking to get. But that's when I think guys is like reaching, they simping, they doing too much. And I think that's kind of what's changed the game because a lot of women feel like, well, since such and such over here might do it, everybody will do it. And then you read a real one that's like, nah, that's not the program I'm on. And you know what I'm saying? You wonder, or you just probably might keep it pushing and go to the next one. But, you know, that's how
So,
the game goes.
so I have a few things. Number one, Malik, I think when we go back to talk about Steve Harvey, his wife, number one,
Yeah.
it's not simping because he got what he wanted, right? Like if you're going after something and that's what you want and you get it, it's not
I
simping.
mean, now it's not
But it's not.
simping,
But hold on.
but during
That's
that
like,
time it
hold on, no,
was.
because some people look at quote unquote tricking on females as simping. And the thing is, it ain't tricking if you got it. So is it really simping if you get it? No, because you got what you was looking for. See what I'm saying? To me, simping, and not for nothing, her past has nothing to do with it. So what if she wanted to date so what if she dated somebody who was a convicted felon? At the end of the day, if you are looking to
Not just one, not just one.
hold on, I don't care. I don't care. That's her business because at the end of the day, when you look at the statistics, right, one in every 15 black men, one in every 15 black men are incarcerated by the age of 18. Between the ages of 20 and 34, it's 1 in 9. So that's the criminal defense attorney in me. So let's just remember that. That's a much different percentage if you compare it to white men, was one in every 106. You see what I'm saying? So we have as a woman, the selection pool is different. And you also have to remember, just because somebody goes to jail doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. Sometimes they feel forced to have to make certain decisions. Everybody doesn't have the ability to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They got to do what they got to do for their families. And sometimes, and we've done a podcast about this too, about how the government has, since Black people got here, has been doing what they can to separate the Black family, including incarcerating many of our Black men, to take the head off of that giant and getting women to rely on public assistance and government assistance. So that's another conversation for another day. Now, my definition of simping is, when you playing yourself, but you play yourself anyway. You continuing to push for somebody that don't want you and is using you, and you're continuing to allow yourself to be used one way or another. That's simping, because now you're just being simple. Like, I want her, maybe if I keep doing the things that I think she wants, despite the fact that she talks to me crazy, she treats me like shit, excuse my language, or whatever. She does whatever it is that she wants to do, however she wants to do it. And I don't get any benefit out of it. I'm not getting any joy out of it. I'm just going to continue to chase this woman who clearly doesn't want me, but she's going to continue to take from me because she wants what I'm giving her as opposed to wanting me. You see what I'm saying? To me, that's what simping is. And so because of that, I think that has more to do with a person's self-esteem, right? That's you putting yourself out there and putting yourself on the floor, and creating a space for yourself, because even though you think that standard is high, it's not, because somebody who is about anything is going to tell you, don't do that. You see what I'm saying? Don't keep trying to give me gifts if you know I'm not going to never return nothing for you. I got nothing for you. I'm not going to give you attention. I'm not going to give you a date. I'm not going to give you energy, no burn, no nothing. You see what I'm saying? Stop doing that. Save that for somebody who's going to accept it and appreciate it and appreciate you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to take it and I'm like, oh, look what so-and-so gave me, and I'm not going to give a damn about so-and-so. And that's not fair to him. You know, when you that goes to self-love, right? And pouring into yourself and knowing what your standards are and setting higher standards for yourself. Because I'm going to tell y'all this, what I really truly believe is that, you know, if more men set higher standards for themselves, it would force more women to have higher standards. And the reason why I say that is because it's like, if I know this man wants this, if I want this man, he likes a woman that can cook. I want him. So I'm going to go make sure I know how to cook. I'm going to make sure I know how to do the things that he likes for me to do. It's not going to be always about, oh my God, where's my Birkin? When we going to the mall? When we going on a trip? No. If he's going to do that for her, then she's going to be willing to just accept it because that's what the hell she wants. And there's nothing wrong with wanting those things, but at what cost? And if you're not setting a standard and you're not setting a tone, then there's nothing, no atmosphere. It's not for her to set the atmosphere because you're not giving her space to produce something, right? You got to remember, women reproduce. We don't just reproduce new people. Anything you give us, we multiply. You give us a house, we make it a home. You know what I mean? Things like that. So if you set that standard and you set that tone and you set it at a higher level, it gives her something to reach for. And if she's not going to reach for it, then she can go find who don't got that high standard. And I think
Hey, Sam. Oh, I hate to cut you off. I just wanted to say I do agree with you, but I just wanted to make like 2 points. Like, I think, you know, what would help besides what you said is one, the whole society, right? Society kind of gets in the way because if men do elevate their standards and they try to, you know, do as you said, it's like there's going to be backlash. Like, oh, you know, society's going to be like, and women are going to be like, oh, you're sexist, all this other stuff. So men are just going to feel bad and then go back to their old ways, right? You know, what's currently going on. And then two, and the second point is simping. Like, men are naturally, they have their natural desires, and a lot of men desire women. So, you know, they're going to start simping and doing what they can to, you know, get the attention and get the company of these women. So those are the two things that I think would hurt, even if they tried to elevate their standards. But go ahead.
Yeah, but you that's the problem. Like, you set a standard, somebody tells you no, and you're like, okay, no, that's not how you get anywhere. There has to be some kind of a fight, right?
Right.
Whenever society has brainwashed a bunch of people, you have to fight to, you know, freedom of their mind. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, you know, here it is. It's like, yeah, some men might simp. Okay, cool. But also, too, you have men that are like, look, I want to have a higher standard. Look at, like we talked about the other day when it talks about when we talked about masculinity, women having masculine energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
All men have masculine and feminine energy. All women have masculine and feminine energy. It's about which energy are you, right? And a lot of Black women in this country live in masculine energy. A lot of women live in Black women specifically live in masculine energy. Why? Because they've been forced to, based on the things that we just talked about before, with the history of breaking up the family and all of that other kind of stuff, right? And so with that being said, it goes like this. If you have a bunch of women living in their masculine energy and now men are coming and saying, yo, you're being too masculine, you got to relax, like, you be feminine. She has to feel secure enough to lower that masculine energy and heighten her feminine energy. But a man has to give her that space to feel safe enough to do that, because especially too after hundreds of years of not being able to do that, right? And so with that being said, you know, I think that it's important to recognize that whenever we encounter that now, because men are saying we want women to be more feminine, it's creating a space for men to be more masculine, because they're creating more space for women to feel more safe and secure in order to lower that masculine energy. But it's not going to go nowhere. Women don't want to be masculine, generally speaking. You know what I'm saying? They want to exist in their feminine energy. But if you don't feel comfortable with doing it, then it's not going to happen. You feel me? And so with that being said, as long as a man creates that space, that's what he's going to get. So men have to fight to show women, look it, I am that safe space. Because now you're not just trying to show her that you have that space. You have to fight through the generational trauma that got her there in the first place. You see what I mean? And just saying, oh, okay, well, she's not doing it, I'm out. Like, oh, she's not doing it, I'm not gonna give her a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's like women are always looked to give men a chance based off the things that they have to go through on a day-to-day basis. Women are never looked at to be given a chance. So I think that with regards to that, we have to just find a way to be more patient with one another, you know, and as it relates to society and the societal views and the relationships between men and women, you know, the biggest solution in my eyes is for, number one, men have to take accountability. Men have to take the responsibility, and men have to hold. And when I say take accountability, I mean hold each other accountable. You see what I'm saying? A man, if you see your brother doing something that he's not supposed to be doing, as far as his standards are concerned, you know, like I had a homeboy one time was like, yo, you see that girl's body? And then the other homeboy was like, did you see her face? It's like, yo, that might be a physical conversation, but that's a man conversation. And you got to hold your people accountable. Like, you just want to be with any old body. You don't have no standards. Set your standards higher, bro. Because if you set your standards higher, she's going to try to meet that. She's going to try and meet you there. She's going to better herself. So you have to open up that space for her, though. So in my eyes, that's one of the biggest solutions, I think, to fixing that problem.
Yeah, I agree, Sam. I agree with all of that. I would just add the whole simping aspect. Like, men don't, I guess that's part of the standard, right? Like, hey, limit your simping. I know you're gonna simp a little bit, but you know, limit that simping aspects, and obviously set the standard, like you said. I think if men set the standard on things, and you know, especially the men that women desire, say, hey, this is what we want, and if you don't provide it, you're not going to get us in any type of way, and we be strict on it. That's one aspect. And also, I think what's underrated, some of the laws and rules of this in Western society, and specifically United States, that enable some of this bad behavior, inappropriate behavior, needs to go. I know women want to be able to express themselves freely and do certain things, but if most men don't want that, then that there's always going to be a clash. So, and if they want a man to step up and they want to come under his leadership, they're going to have to accept, you know, some of the pros and cons of that. And I think once we come together as a society and accept those things, I think we can move forward. You want to say something? That's all I wanted to say.
I was going for about 40 minutes. Let me jump in here real fast. So I think we talked about the controlling of standards, right? And I think one of the things that you guys had mentioned within that was, if men continue to control the standards that they have, and my understanding of that would be like men continuously having a set standard. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Men continuously having a set standard in which they are men continuously having a set standard for which they are holding women to, that women will rise to those standards. I think that is one of the things that men are responsible for doing, because I think at the end of the day, men are some of the leaders in society. And I'm not taking nothing from women and saying that that they're not equally important, but it's just that sometimes men sometimes are the ones who build the foundation for the country as far as doing the tough jobs, as far as doing those things. And what comes with that is technically leadership. I think that's one of the reasons why we've always seen so many male presidents, you know what I'm saying, within this country. Now, I understand that we are very close to having our first female president coming through soon. And it's not to say that I don't think that women can lead at all. But what I'm saying is generally have been viewed that men have been working in those roles. And to the point that Sam made earlier, I think it's because ultimately most women, I think majority of women would like to live in the feminine energy, more softer type of lifestyle where, they get to pick and choose the type of things that they want to do. And then they don't feel the pressure of having to be in their masculine and having to, defend and to provide and do all of these things for a family that would put them out of, the type of energy that they should be in. I definitely think that that's something that us as men, we can control if we are able to, one, find women who are able to get on the programming that we are able to set with the lifestyle that we are able to provide. And then two, when it came to the simping issue, I think that's the issue of like elders. I truly do. I believe if you got somebody in your life that's telling you how to move when you're dealing with certain situations, it should teach you, how to put things in its place. Discipline. We say sometimes, for lack of a better term, I ain't gonna say the exact term, but just having discipline, sexual discipline, being able to, like you said, to the point earlier, okay, did you see her, her behind, but did you see her face? Like having certain standards in which you're saying, like, yeah, I'm not gonna just do anything for anybody, regardless of what they have. Because one thing you'll start to learn in this society is you get, I pray everybody get the things that they want to have so they can kind of see that the things that they may be looking for isn't always what it's said to be, right? I think you will learn sometimes too. I think Ye said it once, like, the prettiest people how to do the ugliest things, right? So you can kind of understand that sometimes, like, you could find somebody that might have all of the things that you may want, but then come to realize that those physical attributes alone aren't enough. Like now you looking to gravitate to somebody that got those physical attributes and still have a certain sense of self that, what I'm saying, that allow them to be grounded by, their experiences and the things that they've experienced in life and know who they are so that they don't fall behind in that, basic category of individuals who are just, kind of being transactional with everything that they do. So like those are things that I think you kind of learn from elders. They kind of teach you to discern, discern what's just being there for, the taking, as far as these are people who are around to get what you have to offer them, let alone just offer you something. So you got to be able to see that. And then two, or just know that, hey, that's what it is. So you take it for what it is and you go about your day, because at the end of the day, everybody ain't going to be good people for you. So, but it doesn't mean that they don't have a position that they can play. You know what I'm saying? Let them play their position and send them on about their way. And I think that's something that, like the elders can kind of teach that helps with, that going into simping of understanding, because it can look like a simp to one person to say, okay, well, look, you paid that girl, you know what I'm saying, for her attention. Whereas to another person, it could look like, okay, but I'm also saving time and you know what I'm saying, expediting my process. Whereas you got to talk to her, date her, do all of these other things, you know what I'm saying, in hopes we're trying to get their attention, right? So that all plays into different levels of where people are at in their lives, you know, because I think some people say like the Zion situation, oh, Zion can be looking like he's simping. Or it could look like that, or it could look like he just, you know what I'm saying, was doing a 2 for $20 at Applebee's with these girls. But to us, it looked like, oh my God, he spent $20,000. But to him, it's like it was $20 on the Applebee's day. You know what I'm saying? What y'all tripping about, right? So I think, you know what I'm saying, that's why it's, you know, you got to play within your own life and build within your own reality. You know what I'm saying? And your own simulation of where you're at on life and things, because that's the only way that you're going to really be able to, you know, elevate to the next level. And last but not least, I want to go ahead and transition us into our book of the month, which is by Viola Davis, and it is called Finding Me. It is a biopic, if you will, book, if you will, biography. So you guys can check that one out. Again, our business of the month this month is Big Fine Lingerie by Tina Marie. You guys can find them online at Big Fine, all one word, Lingerie, by Tina Marie. And last but not least, we have a quote from unknown person found on Pinterest, which states, having high standards does not mean you look down on people. High standards means that there are things too valuable to compromise about yourself, like morals, your integrity, and values. So those are the things that I mentioned earlier when I said intangible, right? You can't really put a price on your value. And your integrity. You can't really put a price on, you shouldn't really put a price on your value. You shouldn't put a price on your integrity. Those are things that I think should just be to the core of who you are as an individual and what you stand for. And so having that and not compromising on that shows, like we talked about earlier, a level of self-love, a self-care, self-discipline. And when you have that, it makes it harder for others to disrespect you because you have a certain level of love for yourself that you won't even allow them to get that comfortable or even to get into that space to have that level of access to you. So with that being said, y'all, be water, you know what I'm saying? Stay fluid, keep going. You know, we have a lot of things going on. We have a What's Up Wednesday coming up. We're going to be speaking to you guys on some current events type of things. Be sure to check us out on all of our socials, which will be posted here momentarily. Like I said, our What's Up Wednesday, we do that live on Instagram at 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., pardon me, on Wednesday nights. You guys be sure to check that. We will be taking a break on the week of July 4th. So you guys will be posting and letting you guys know about that. But if my co-hosts got any other thing that they want to say, be sure to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, to tell 2 other friends, to tell 10 friends. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be here next weekend, and we can all do it again, as in the words of Big or whatever he said. You know.
So on July 2nd, we will not be here. We are observing the government holiday of Independence Day on that day. We will be back on the 5th for What's Up Wednesday. And then the following Sunday, I may be in a different space and spirit. I'm not sure if I'm going to be present because it is going to be a real one's birthday weekend. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. I wanted to put that out there. I do want to relay all the sentiments that you just got finished relaying and add, y'all make sure that y'all are good to one another. Life is too short. No such thing as a bad day. Every day is a blessing when you woke up, and be kind to one another because you never know how you can bless the next person. So Malik, I don't know if you had anything to add.
Oh yeah, try to be stronger than yesterday. That's the best words I can say for now.
So with that, y'all, we hope y'all have an amazing rest of your week, a great day off, good time. Hopefully y'all go to a lot of good cookouts where they don't put raisins in the potato salad. I hope that y'all enjoy yourself and take care. Y'all be good. We'll see y'all on Wednesday, right?
All right, guys.
See ya.
Peace.